Welcome to the Misfit Squad podcast,
where we invite you to embrace your difference and to discover a spectrum of possibilities and change what's wrong about you into what is strong about you.
Welcome everybody to the Misfit Squad podcast. I am your host, Trina Rice, and this is
Kim Lucienne,
where we embrace your differences.
Right.
Today, we're going to talk about awareness and what is awareness? What actually is awareness? Last week, we just talked about energy and what energy was.
Right. And we talked about how we're basically walking, talking radio towers. So we're going to talk about that more and how that relates to awareness. So you're walking around like a radio tower, picking up on all the energies. And
you're constantly adjusting the frequency depending on the energies that are around. Like if you're at a live football game, you're going to be a different frequency or energy than you are if you're sitting at home on your couch. Or maybe even like, especially now, well, sometime when you're out like shopping, or in a mall, there's so many people and so many things. You're going to be a different energy, or you're picking up on different energetic frequencies at that time too.
yeah.
Yes.
So awareness, you are aware of energies. And as Trina just talked about, like we have these different frequencies.
That was a frequency too.
That we like to call your personal energetic signature. So you are aware of the energy around you. That is awareness.
Yes. So, and that's what I was just saying, when you are at like a live football game or shopping, you're going to have a lot more energies versus like, well, you'll have maybe the same, but even if you're out in nature, there's a lot of energies, but it is different. It's different energy.
Right. And so we have our personal energetic signature. Everyone has an energetic signature, kind of like everyone has a fingerprint, right? You have your fingerprint, I have my fingerprint. They're unique to each individual. Your energetic signature is the same sort of thing. You have your unique energetic signature. You have yours, I have mine. Everyone has their unique energetic signature. And then you have all these frequencies that you can adjust along the spectrum of your signature. And we do that. That's basically what you were talking about, sort of like the fine tuning and the changing around and the moving of the energies, right? We're constantly adjusting our signature to fit or change or contribute or something to the energies that we're aware of that are going on around us. Up until this point, many of us have not really realized that's what we were doing, right? We haven't acknowledged that we're aware. We haven't acknowledged that we're aware of energy, but that's really what's been going on.
But like even one thing, like Kim and I were just having a discussion earlier, and we were talking about, when you are aware, and we also have our own energetic signature when we are with other people.
Yeah.
So like when, for instance, some of us who are a little bit different, we're the misfits, we're really good at being what's called like a chameleon. So we can take on different energies at different times. We might be like, yeah, like all excited at one moment in time, and we can also be really quiet and withdrawn at other times. And maybe we also get really overwhelmed when there's so much going on. But one thing I've recognized in my life that I do, and Kim as well, is that a lot of times we like take the backstage, or be the what else would you?
We were talking about being the extra in the room, the extra in someone's life, the extra in someone's business,
and
just the extra.
Just being the extra. And what we mean by that, like if you have somebody who has maybe it's even your boss, who has a bigger, they require to be in the front more often, like the face of a company, or like if you're thinking of a band on stage, you always have like the singer. They're usually in the front more than the drummer who's in the back. So it's not that the drummer is actually the extra, but he's not the forefront. So it's kind of how a lot of us play in our life, is like especially if you're like a misfit or a different one and you're aware of all these energies, a lot of times you'll take the backstage or you are the extra, because you can be that chameleon and you can fit your energetic signature in different ways.
Right. And basically that's a total capacity, right? Being able, essentially another way to say it is you can read the room, meaning you can walk into any room and you know exactly what is required and what energy is required. So, and then you can be that.
Yeah.
And most people can't do that.
Yeah, and it's like myself. I'm a therapist. I'm an occupational therapist, and I work with kids that are sometimes diagnosed or on the spectrum. And there's sometimes that I actually have to be the boss. Like I have to be that boss energy and be like upfront, like this is how this is going to occur. And there's other times, in order for us to have that connection, it's more like I have to be like a companion or a friend energy. And so that's what we're talking about. That is awareness. It's being aware of all of those energies all the time and what role, and it's not even necessarily have to stay that role, but it's being aware of what is required at that given time, at that given moment. What energy do you need to be?
Yeah. So
awareness is knowing.
Right. Awareness is knowing. Awareness is knowing what you know. And then the more aware you get, the more willing you are to acknowledge that, then the more that you know can show up and make sense to you. And so the other thing that we talked that's really important in this whole awareness conversation is we have that personal energetic signature. We all also have our own like personal zone of awareness, kind of like some people, you know how like there's like personal space bubbles. Like I have an exceptionally gigantic like personal space bubble. Like this,
like, well,
she's
like
really in my space right now.
So for those who can't see us, I'm sitting really close to you. And it drives her nuts.
It drives me crazy. I'm always like, where would be?
And I would actually say I have a very big, what you would call bubble too. Like I require a lot of space around me. And Kim requires even more. So it's kind of like when you feel like someone's breathing down your neck, or they're like,
and that's like the personal. So that's like a real physical example, right? But what we talk about is we have this zone of awareness, which is like sort of like our normal like area, let's call it, where you're aware of everything going around you that really impacts you. And for some people that is like 10 feet or 100 feet or 5 miles or 100,000 miles. Like, so you have a personal zone where you're like acutely aware of what's going on.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So you have your personal zone of awareness.
Yeah.
And so what does that mean, or why does that matter? Or what's helpful to know about that?
Having your personal zone of awareness.
Yeah. Knowing that you have a personal zone of awareness, and what can we do with that?
Well, it's also how you interchange into what we're talking about, all the energies of life. And like we were just even the example of being like an extra, like knowing that, hey, there is moments and times when I actually may show up as, I might be that chameleon where I'm actually the extra. And there's other times where I'm going to be more in the forefront of what's required. And so I was saying that because I was getting somewhere.
That we can't remember, so it's not important anymore. So we're
this is what happens when you're a misfit. There's so much energy, radio towerness going on that you forget
sometimes. So in any case, lots of information we've just dumped on you about awareness, what it is, what it isn't, how to use it.
Oh, can I say something?
Yes.
It's like, actually, we were talking about awareness is knowing. It's being aware of what you know. And sometimes that shows up as like the whispers and the little fine energetic tuning. And sometimes it's like the wind. It can be a soft, cool breeze, or other times it can be like this gush of wind that comes in. And it's like, oh, okay, I got it.
Yeah.
And other times it's just that it can be a change. Like you can walk someplace, or if you've like been in a pool and like all of a sudden or out in the ocean, you're like, oh my God, it's really cold in this spot and this spot's really warm. That's just that whole influctuation of like awareness of energies. And it's that knowing, and knowing is fast and quick. You get it It's not a thinking about it, figuring it out. It's actually just what you know. And sometimes you're like, people may say, well, how did you know that?
Right.
And you'll be like,
Because
I
I
don't
just
know.
did.
I don't know. I just knew it.
Yeah. So that's it for this episode of the Misfit Squad podcast, where we talked about what is awareness. Stay tuned for our next show, where we're actually going to talk more about your zone of awareness and what to do about it. And that's Rufus's nose. She needed to be on camera with us today, didn't she?
See,
So-
Rufus is aware of energies, so she is saying
Hi. So thanks for joining us on this episode of the podcast. We will catch you next time. Stay tuned. Thanks for being here.
see you guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the show.
Our target is to make your awareness easy to use and to acknowledge the power of not fitting in.
If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe to our channel on YouTube and share it with someone you know.
Why fit in when you were born to stand out?
Embrace your difference. Join the Misfit Squad.